family, only the real relate. Ride on my enemies, only them. Tryna take control, I'ma snatch your pad. Life in the game, don't try and own my own pad. Ain't max but still, it be telling me mad. Thinking how things still getting worse when they're already bad. It's not me, really gone to the plan. Funny got a stretch car, I need them bands. Brothers gotta eat, wanna feed the fam. Got me trying to see more green than damn. One of my G's said he'll move a box in 1 week. Another said he's been moving boxes all week. Cheese, can't knock the hustle. Cause they're both getting cheese, and they're both using muscle, but only one's on the street. One man legit for his son, the other's trying to shine like one. Swipe spit it's like a 9, so neither of them die by one. Trying to get us out of the struggle, watch it's a matter of time. Say when I burst my bubble, I say as long as I blow then it's fine. Flow for my fam cause they say blood's thicker than water. Flow for the gang cause they waited round for my order. When it's my time to eat, every man grab a plate. Ain't gotta run these streets, ain't gotta watch your weight. Die for my family, only the real relate. Ride on my enemies, only them fakers hate God.
They ain't built like that, they ain't built like that. They ain't built like that, they ain't built like that. They ain't built like that, they ain't built like that. They ain't built like that, they ain't built like that.
Can't use always if I want something new.
Stay fresh.
Me and my brothers weren't playing chess, they was making moves. We was on deck from fraud to the food.
All that.
Just a splash and taking them trips, post cop and new shoes. Quick fixes and to ride with a tool. Young reckless, didn't follow no rules. Swear took risks to shine like jewels. Couple times was hot, had to play it cool. Back then the ones who made me hadn't separated. So won't stop till the one who stayed is over celebrated, rated. For working 10 plus, no promo. Her show it still runs, no co-host. And that's when the fam deserted her, still she didn't crumble. Cave is a no-no. She got more heart than care for they left of her dead, had her shopped up the photo. That's why I wanna make her live a dream. Anything she want that costs green is a go-go. Every day is a hustle. With my 9 pence strapped back, car money's on my mind. Reminds me of a Russell. Rather be deaf to all jams than their brother didn't grind. Flow for the fam, cause they say blast thicker than water. Flow for my gang cause they waited round for my order. When it's my time to eat, every man grab a plate. Ain't gotta run these streets, ain't gotta watch your weight. Die for my family, only the real relate.
episode. For some reason, they're letting us continue doing it. It's myself again with Aaron West. Aaron, what's going on, dude?
Just living, man.
Coordinating the hat and the shirt. I like that.
Yeah, I matched this morning. It was crazy. It's crazy. I'm excited to just rip on Dash today, to be honest. Welcome.
Oh, yeah, by the way, we've got Dash over in the, what was called the Socialist Lounge, Socialist Corner. Dash has renamed it. Dash, what's it called now?
It's called It's Not.
Okay, you lost your chance for that. Dash, but tell us about that mic you brought from home.
So we ran out of laughs, and I figured I'd bring this one in, make it more of a kind of music sound recording studio.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dash. That's a great little introduction there. The energy is high. It's perfect. We love it. Keep that energy coming. The fans love when you get wound up like that. So passionate about what you're saying. Guys, today the topics we're talking about, and hopefully in this order, we're talking about saving U.S. soccer. Who's going to do it besides us, of course. Conte, Chelsea are having some issues. We're going to talk about should he stay or should he go. London Derby's coming up. We're going to pick our picks for the weekend for some of the big matches. And then Dashy over here has made a few off-color remarks about MLS versus Europe and how it would compete and how it would stack up. Something that we don't like to talk about, but because he said a few things, we've got to talk about it now. And Patrice Evra is back, so we're going to talk about those things. But let's get right into it. Dash, U.S. Soccer. Who's going to be the U.S. Soccer president?
Eric Wijnaldum, I hope.
Oh, wow. I actually didn't think you'd have an answer for that.
I didn't think you'd have an answer.
I was just chucking that out there.
I just thought he was going to ask a question from the
And he
audience.
said, I hope, instead of just saying this
No,
person.
he
Like, he's actually just...
Why do you think Eric will nominate?
I think he's a cool guy. I don't like how we've just begun and you guys are just out to get me.
No, we're not to get you.
You know, maybe you can get me when we get into the topic of where I'm going to start, maybe talking bad about the MLS. But from the beginning, you know, Eric Wijnaldum, he's cool. I agree with some of his points. He supports promotion relegation, which I'm about to ask you guys what your opinion on that is. I didn't like the other guys as much, simply, yeah.
What's hanging from the ceiling?
So I've hung a Wayne Rooney shirt here.
Okay.
Simply upside down because I don't like Manchester United, but I figured I'm English, I'm in this corner, I'll put an iconic English player. I've actually got this one too that I'm going to put up
You
so
don't do that. Don't do it. I already took it down once, and now he brought it back.
This one's going.
Caleb, I might need you to intervene. Oh, man. All
So
right.
that one's upside
That's
down.
happening.
These are the two teams I dislike most.
I'm going to need you to take that down, my guy.
Anyway, should we...
Yeah, is there anybody saying anything in the comments? What's going on?
Yeah, we've got Tommy Fitzgerald saying promotion relegation, for it or against it? If for, what model should we adopt?
Okay.
Tommy Fitzgerald, hop in the comments.
I think let's hold that comment. Let's talk a little bit first about youth development. That's today's subject of the day, guys. If you haven't already, make sure you go to our Twitter account at some point and look at some of the posts that we put up from some of the U.S. soccer presidential candidates. Their responses all very, very different. Some of them have some similarities, but make sure you go and check that out on our Twitter account. And get in on the conversation there and get in on the conversation here. Youth development, Aaron, do you think that we prioritize winning too much? That was one of the questions that we had asked the presidential candidates. And everybody agreed that it was yes, but how you then fix that was different between all of them.
Yeah, I think that's the issue is, number one, I do think winning is prioritized way too much in youth soccer. You walk by any pitch on like a Saturday or a Sunday, all it is just parents screaming, go, 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 go. And it's not much like positive reinforcement when it comes to creativity, when it comes to playing out of the back, when it comes to doing things that might not necessarily contribute directly to a win in the here and now, but in the long run is going to make kids better players overall. So I definitely think there's too much of an emphasis. There's a difference between hating to lose and only being obsessed with winning, in my opinion.
But are we the only country that's doing that? Like, are we the only country that's saying, oh, win at every level? I mean, Dash, you grew up in the UK, right?
Yeah.
Was it an emphasis when you were younger to win? Like to win every game when you were a youth player, 8, 9, 10 years old?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, Americans...
That was a long, deep breath, dude. I got to tell you.
No, what I love about football is teams go for the draw. Teams sometimes need a point and play for a point. Is that kind of what we're asking?
Absolutely not. I'm asking you, do we play at a youth age? Is there too much emphasis on winning, like not on having fun or developing, or yeah? You gotta pay attention a little bit.
Sorry, I'm a little bit spaced out.
Bring it back in, Ron. You got it. You got it.
I'm struggling to answer that question because I don't really know what you're asking. So you're saying
what?
At a youth level.
Let's see what the candidates say really quick. We'll get back to that.
Yeah, let's see what the candidates had to say.
So, first question is, do you think that we emphasize winning too much at the youth level? And if yes, how do we ensure development is a priority at the younger ages?
You knew I was going to say yes. Yes, we absolutely make it about winning at a young age. And you know what that does? It takes the fun out of it.
One of the things that happens to have a massive influence on this is the coaching. The coaching is where that winning attitude comes from, because the coaches are being paid, so they feel that they have to deliver. Now that's the problem.
I think that's part of the culture, is for coaches to promote their wins and their losses as opposed to promoting the players that they've developed.
For a coach, the answer is absolutely not. Way too much of an emphasis on winning. We need to focus on player development and helping players get better. For kids, we want to nurture and cultivate their natural competitiveness.
Clearly the answer here is yes.
It's not necessarily about
it's
winning or losing. It's
one thing
about
that I think that's been
understanding the
criticized
game and
recently,
understanding
right,
the coach's function. Because if I had it my way, I wouldn't even call them a coach. I would say, under the age of 10, your job is to facilitate a game.
Development is about wanting to be on the field, falling in love with the game, and having time to grow as an individual. And then as you get older, and the way we grew up, you start getting into winning, you start getting into coaching, you start getting into formations and all the nuance and the cognitive side of the game.
Dash.
Yes.
Aaron. The answer was a resounding yes, clearly, right?
Absolutely.
Everybody seems to be on the same page that we value winning too much. Do you think that's the easy answer, though? Because one of the criticisms of all the candidates has been like, yes, you have Eric Winalda taking a much more radical stance on certain things and wanting to implement change now, which I think has a value. But everybody else seems to be very much, a lot of the answers you wouldn't be able to tell them apart from somebody else. If you put them in written form, it'd be like, okay, everybody seems to be saying the same thing, just in the same thing in a little bit different of a way. Do you think that's an issue that, or is it actually just that everybody seems to have the right answer to this particular problem?
Yeah, I think there's just a kind of a general consensus that yes, there's an issue, but I don't know if there's much of an actual push for what the fix is, which is exactly what you're saying. It's like, we've got a problem, but how we fix it is which is the real issue, the actual iceberg underneath the water. Like that's the how we fix it is the biggest issue.
To be fair though, Mike Winograd was saying that keep winning. Like, it's about winning at a young age. Build the culture of winning, but it's about how the coach then handles things, how the coach then makes changes, how the coach, it's more about how the coach does that, what his priorities are versus the players. Teaching the players to win is an important thing, is what he said. I think everybody agrees on that. Like, winning is an important thing, but that being the emphasis. You know, when I was younger, I remember kids, including myself at times, where you were given like something to score goals, or if your team won, there was like this overemphasis on that instead of course, having fun was part of it. It's like one of the first things your parents ask you is like, oh, did you have fun? But like, the systemic issue with that, we have to change the narrative a little bit, make it more about having fun. Again, when I first turned pro, right? Even when I went to Germany, the guy that eventually took my spot when I left the club was a kid who had been playing outside back for his entire life. Like, he'd been an outside back his entire life. I had been a striker my entire life, and then a holding midfielder, and then a winger, and whatever. And I think that has a value as well. But these were kids who enjoyed playing the game as an outside back, right? Which means no one really has fun at a youth level being an outside back when you would rather be a striker scoring the goals, right? So there must have been some sort of freedom for him to be creative and learn the position and enjoy the position long enough to say, like, oh, I've got a chance to go somewhere with this.
Right. I think one of the biggest issues we face in the U.S. is that when kids go to training and they go to play with their teams, that's the only time they're playing soccer. So when the focus is only on winning and winning for your club team, and that's the only soccer they're getting, then I think it could be too much. But in a lot of other countries, probably most other countries, these kids aren't, number one, they're playing every day on their own. So that whole fun side of things comes because they're out playing with their friends every day. They're not just waiting till training to play, which is another issue there.
Yeah, but you didn't play at home?
I did. And the emphasis from winning came from me. It wasn't like a parent or a coach was standing there like, hey, if you don't win 3 games before sundown, you're not getting breakfast or you're not getting dinner. It's just we just wanted to win. And that was, we fostered that competitive spirit together, and it wasn't like a coach was standing there like, oh, do you like to win? You're not going to make it if you don't like to win.
What do you think, Dash?
I think it's all about winning.
Okay.
I've got another question for you guys.
Okay. Dash with another zinger. All right, what's going on? What's going on in the comments?
Dash's hot takes right now.
Well, no, I just figured we went on a little bit about that point, and it's good to move on.
I appreciate that, Dash. Keep us moving, I guess.
A guy called Cuban.
Do you like Brazilian music?
Yes.
All
right. Cuban Ginger in the comments. It's a good name. I don't know if it's his real name. Who do you want to
Okay.
Just
I was feeling a bit skeptical on that name. I was going to be like, is that his real name? But then you clarified that we don't know. So what's his question?
Who do you want to win the election? You asked me. I gave you my Kyle Martin, my Wijnaldum answer. Your turn.
The perfect response for me is the perfect answer for me is these. Some of them need to combine. There's a lot of people that have a ton of business experience and not a lot of on-field experience or locker room experience or handling that side of it. And then you have the reverse. And I would love to see Kyle Martino match up with Mike Winograd. If somebody doesn't get the 50%, and I think that's going to be hard for somebody to get the 50% and win, or the 50.00001, whatever it is that you have to win.
Right.
So I'd love to see that. Maybe that's Kathy Carter teaming up with Carlos Cordero. Maybe that's Mike Winograd with Kyle Martino, or Mike with Eric Wijnaldum. I really liked what Mike Winograd's had to say, and I think he is an underdog in a lot of ways because there are some much bigger figures in the business community, at least within soccer, and then also former players. So I'd love to see a few people team up and combine their votes, combine those people, and really drive this home, and then actually be able to step into a room and say, hey, you've got the expertise to cover this, you've got the expertise to cover that, let's do this together, because this is an unpaid position. To think that you're going to be able to go out and then all the people that are building all this stuff for these candidates are going to want to stay involved for free forever, it's just not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah. So who are you going to go with? I mean, you said 2. You kind of said you'd like people.
I would like to see Mike Winograd team up with Kyle Martino or Eric Wijnaldum.
Oh, okay, cool. I didn't realize they could.
If you had to pick one right now, who would it be?
It's just weird that you guys were in pre-production where we talked about that we're not going down the route of talking about individuals.
Let's not go down it.
And then it's all you guys want to do is get the question from me to answer the question.
I was actually just legitimately like, what does he think about this?
I have 2 things to say about this. One, I don't know enough about each candidate to actually put in a vote. If I wanted to have a say in this matter, I would be a voting member. Now, I didn't think it would come to this, but I'm not a voting member. So I only know what they've given me, and if I take it just from my Walk Talk Footballs, I like Mike Winograd, I like Kyle Martino, and I like Eric Wijnaldum. Now, I think Mike Winograd is the best chance of implementing that change. I think Kyle Martino has a team around him, says he's not the smartest in the room, but would have a group of people around him that would make those things happen. Mike Winograd should be part of that group. I think he is very intelligent. From the very beginning, he did that panel that was down in Florida or somewhere like that, North Carolina or something. And he was prepared. He came with answers to everything. And I think him and Eric Wijnaldum were the only 2 that actually had solutions to the problem. And from the very beginning, I was like, this guy knows what he's talking about, or at least came prepared with how you can solve the problems. He didn't say he can solve them himself, but he said he's willing to get into a room and solve the problems, and that's what he does on a daily basis. Therefore, that's why I like the things that he said, but I would like to see him with a former player. Even though he's a former player himself, I'd like to see him with a player that has clout like Eric Wijnaldum or Kyle Martino. Both guys who are very pro-rel, but from very different positions. One wants to implement it slowly, the other one wants to kind of burn the system down and bring in something, some big change, working with the MP Silva guys. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Just before, we're going to move on to Chelsea in a second, but just before we go there, another guy with a similar name to Cuban Ginger, this guy's called Ginger Mike. He says, what's your favorite snack to eat while watching football, Aaron?
Me, personally.
His name is Mike Ginger.
I have no idea who that could be, but
Could be B?
Could be B. I have a number of favorite snacks. If I had to pick one, probably baked Lays.
Baked
Lays.
There's a hidden
Which
message
flavor?
in that for sure, by the way.
Is there?
Yeah, there's a hidden message in that. Dash, you won't get it. Baked Lays. Not sponsoring the segment, but sponsors Aaron's weekend when he's watching the game.
Thanks for the check.
All right, let's move on to Conte at Chelsea, right? Dash, subject you probably don't want to talk about, but the bookmakers are putting out the odds on who they think is going to be the next manager. So obviously something is happening. Well, I mean, just kidding. Bookmakers will be like, is there going to be 3 corner kicks? And you can bet on that. So bookmakers are always, setting the odds for all those types of things. But is it better for Chelsea to let Conte go or keep him? So don't forget, you SHIT'd all over Roman Abramovich, the guy who's brought your club 12 trophies.
Almost every trophy your club has had.
12 trophies since he's come there. And now you've got Conte who's brought you a big trophy.
Big one. A real big one.
Okay, so
and is still in the Champions League position. Now go.
I would like to put my hands up and apologize. Last week we were live. I was brought in. I was pretty nervous, put on the spot, and I just started talking badly. I was really angry. We had just lost to Bournemouth, and I was just like rude about Roman Abramovich. I take it back. Roman, I love you. Conte too, please stay. I don't think he will. I think he's going to quit or we're going to sack him, which is sad because we just grind through managers. Like, it's mad.
But you think he should stay?
I think he should stay. I think whatever's going on at Chelsea needs to be sorted behind closed doors. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want people
What do you
talking.
exactly you think is going on with Chelsea? What in your words is going on with Chelsea?
Let me ask you this. This seems like a systemic issue, right? We always talk about it. They have a bad run of form, they change the manager. But in that good run of form, they always win trophies. So it seems like, and they have to pay these managers out, right? There's hundreds of millions of whatever that they've had to pay out in these managers. But there always seems to be trophies involved. They're winning trophies. Things don't work out, they change it. People call it volatile, they call it chaotic, they say there's all these issues, but for some reason it continues to work, right? It continues to work. We've seen that at Man United, and aside from the Europa League, there was really nothing, right? Prior to that. But they've had success in bringing in new managers, fresh blood, and then they always burn out, but they're at least winning trophies. 12 trophies since your boy Abramovich took over.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Not including the Community Shields, which is like 3 or something.
And 3 Premier League trophies in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Also pretty good. What do I think should happen? Is that what you asked, Aaron? You said, what do I think is going on?
What do you think is actually happening at Chelsea? What is the issue? What's
It seems like
from?
Conte's sort of...
No, it's not Conte, because
No,
it's been happening for a while.
It seems like the players aren't really listening to Conte, and Conte doesn't have any stance at the club where no one really wants to be his friend, and the board aren't being
Is it because he texts?
But you're saying you think Conte should stay.
I do. I just want it to be sorted out. I want to just stop churning through managers. Conte was amazing last season, and all of a sudden...
Would you give up the trophies
No.
to have one manager?
No, absolutely
So
not.
then which is it?
Well, I'm just saying...
You're going to make him cry, man. You gotta
No, I want
relax.
that to stop.
You're going to make him cry.
But I'm saying this system, right, it's viewed as volatile, but it's proven to be successful. Abramovich spends a lot of money. He changes managers out when they're not successful. And then a new manager comes in and they're successful. And they're winning trophies with this system since, 2002 or 2003 or whatever?
Yeah, 2003.
That's almost a trophy a year.
Right. So are you saying we should just keep doing that?
Well, I'm saying,
It
why
works.
is it a broken system?
What? I don't know.
I mean, everybody dreams of having that one manager forever, right? But
Yeah,
it doesn't
you're right.
last. You look
You're
at
right.
Zidane, right? One of the best players to ever play for Real Madrid, brought them their most successful period, I believe, ever. And then they hit a rough patch, and the talk is like, is he out?
Should we take a look at how much money Chelsea has spent to sack managers?
Yeah. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at how much money.
That's so much money.
These are payouts, by the way.
These are payouts.
That's not even the wages. This is just like, hey, you got to go.
We can afford it, and it works.
hey, I
just
know we
said
had a great time, but you gotta go.
You're saying you can afford it and it works, so you're okay with the system.
Well, I'm kind of agreeing with your point because that's what you were just saying. So I'm ultimately hearing you say that. I am like, you know what, it does work. So
I'm
let's
just trying to
stick
live
at
in.
it.
I'm trying to live in the world of reality, right? We'd love to have one manager. You know, we had that at Arsenal, and we get some real dry spells. You know, some real dry spells. Okay, we're looking for that mirage all the time out there. Okay, or whatever it's called. What's the thing you're looking for in the Oasis? Yeah.
I'm in a big.
Mirage is the hotel.
Yeah, I'm in a text group with lots of Chelsea fans,
Yeah.
and this week 2 of them were pointing out exactly what you're saying. Whatever works, it's working. Just stick at it. And the other half of people, I was kind of in between.
So with the chaos, you're gonna get a new manager almost certainly within the next year or 2. So who do you want it to be?
Diego Simeone.
Can you say that again? You said that
Diego-
with such passion. Like
Diego Simeone with the black
it was an
shirt.
intimate
He
voice.
said
Yeah,
it's like very sultry.
Diego Simeone. I was like, I like that.
And he's strong.
Rolls off the tongue properly. It'll roll off the tongue for at least 2.5 years till you have to fire him. Will he be the one that stays?
He might be the one.
I just don't think Abramovich cares. He removes himself from the situation now, and he's found a system that's just like, this works.
It's so funny because he hires a manager, and the manager typically will ask for a couple signings. He'll give them to them the first season. And then the second season, when the manager's like, all right, this is what we need to either retain or go get that trophy, he's like, no, you don't get it. Sorry.
Well, it's like he wants, this is the issue, is that you have a new Chelsea that's spending a lot more money, and that bothers Conte because when he came in, Chelsea were spending a lot of money, and he was probably promised a lot of funds to spend on players. And I know Chelsea's trying to move away from and become more of a sustainable club and spending big to win trophies. But you're seeing now with Man City, they spent a bunch of money, they won a trophy. Had an off year, they're going to win a trophy.
You're
again.
right. No, how about this one? Why don't we stop sacking managers, spending that money to pay out their contracts, and buy bigger players?
Maybe you should own
But
Chelsea.
I mean, look at this list right now. Okay, you're talking about 26 million, 18 million. That'll get you your boy John Joe Shelby into your club. That's not going to get you. That'll get you a very average. That won't even get you. And I'm wearing his hair today, the Andy Carroll. That won't even get you anybody. If you put all those together, that would maybe get you close to another Hazard. One.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know the number is big, but that's peanuts compared to what you're paying
right.
on players to bring in, send them out on loan and hope that they work out, or you bring in players that you hope work out and maybe don't.
Yeah, I hope in the summer we sign some big players and just spend big, go way bigger than that, just compete with Man City and just spend like ridiculous money because that's the only way that can do it.
John Terry's 40-1 odds to be the next manager. Are you up for that?
What are fans talking about, Dash?
Yes, and good question.
I tried to do that math kind of quickly in my head for all the managers that Chelsea have fired so far, and I think it adds up to 69 million. It's somewhere close to 69 million.
What's that?
Nice.
Aubameyang?
It's nice.
How much
That's
is
what that
Aubameyang?
means.
65?
It's nice. That's it.
That gets you a Monaco player, basically.
There'd be no way of knowing.
It gets you a Bakayoko.
It gets you John Joe Shelby and Johan Cabaye, who we're
Yeah.
going to get onto in a minute.
Yeah. Is there anything going on in the comments?
Not much. I mean, there's definitely a lot going on. Someone's just said Jody Morris, Fred.
Isn't he in
he's a
jail?
youth. No. Jody Morris?
I don't know.
No, he coaches the Chelsea youth team. Anyway, let's move on to this weekend. Big game, London Derby.
Okay.
Tottenham, Arsenal at Wembley. Who's going to win?
Is that kind of what we want to talk about? Just who's going to win?
Well,
Is that
that's
from the
my
comments?
opening.
Oh, you're opening.
That's just my opening.
You're hosting
That's
now.
from me. I'm
Can we
hosting.
just turn all the cameras to him, and then we're in the social lounge now. Dash is taking. This is now a one-man show. He's got his own mic. He's hosting now.
We don't need to do any pre-pro. We don't need to come up with any questions.
No,
Nothing.
let Dash carry it, dude. You are broad-shouldered. You could carry this show.
It's true.
Start to finish.
Almost
Okay.
Almost Dwight Howard.
North London Derby, right? Arsenal won the last one. Tottenham were a little bit robbed last weekend, or a little bit lucky, depending on which way you look at it. Who needs it more? Who needs the win more?
Arsenal.
honestly-
Sorry, no, I was just joking.
What did you say?
Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to say Arsenal. Arsenal need it more.
Yeah.
But Aaron, continue.
You wanted to just get that point in and not support it with anything? Just,
You just said who needs it more, and I'm going to say Arsenal.
I mean, it's kind of it's more of an open discussion. Here's my answer and why. You get all the time you need. You can talk about it all you want.
Okay, so Arsenal need it more because they've just got rid of an amazing player. They've just signed 2 new players. They just thrashed, who was it on the weekend? Stoke? No.
One of those.
Everton.
One of those crap teams.
Crazy. 5-1.
R.I.P. Theo Walcott, huh?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. What about you, Aaron?
I think it's Arsenal. Spurs are 4 points clear of Arsenal. They've looked better in the last couple years, period. They just look like a team that is on the up, and Arsenal have looked like a team that is not on the up. And I think there's just a big mental block right there between the two teams, and Arsenal need this win.
Yeah, I agree. 4-1 against Everton, right, was like a very, very bright moment that we've got, 3 Arsenal fans in the room right now that all experienced some pure elation by the performance itself and the win. Of course, don't get me wrong, Everton was really bad as well. But now they play against Tottenham, right? Yep. If they can get a result against Tottenham, how many points? 4 or 5 points behind? 4 points behind Tottenham. They get that win. Then they play. I think Europa League. But then they'll have City in the cup final, and then they have City in the league. And if they can get an okay amount of points, I was saying before, 7 points between the Everton, Tottenham, and then City game. If they can get 7 points out of that, then they have a really a very, very manageable run of games until they play, I think, Man United in their second to last game of the season. It's the only other top team that they're going to be playing against. And I think from there, they can fight back into the top 4 with those results. But it's going to start with getting 7 points in those 3 games, which is going to be hard. You know, they've got Östersund. They got to play Östersund. They got to beat Östersund in the Europa League.
It's a long trip, too. It's not like it's just a little easy trip during the week. Like, Östersund is far.
We've got guys on the ground actually in Östersund right now. Pat is in Östersund. Pat's in the comments.
Pat is somewhere lurking.
He's texted me like 50 times on my computer saying to do something. Like, Copa90, put me in timeout. You YouTube comments, can you get me back in? Oh, you got a timeout? Okay, makes sense. So I get it, dude.
Running around.
Okay,
Pat spent enough time in the comments on his own videos to know that if you bring that negativity, people will rally around it. And now he's trying to get the people rallying in the comments, which is not good. I'm glad he got put in timeout. He deserves it.
Because you let him down, Dash.
I've just looked up Östersund, Sweden to London. There's a direct flight on EasyJet. It takes 2 hours 45 minutes.
Oh, so it's not that far.
Not as far as I thought. I thought it was quite far too.
I thought it was so far.
Way out.
Well, it's central Sweden, I believe.
It's dark up there. Whatever it is, it's dark.
It is,
at this
and
time
I know
of
it's
year.
cold. I saw some social hits from the guys on the ground there. It's going to be cold, and they're actually Östersund was asking the city to have people volunteer to come out and help shovel snow around the stadium before their game, because apparently it's going to be another storm, and they're asking to delay the game by 1 day in the Arsenal match, and they're saying no or something like that.
They also want fans to shovel out the snow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I got another question.
All right.
Can both Arsenal and Spurs both make top 4? That was by Freddie Sternberg. Asked that one.
I don't think so. I think Man United's too good, and I think Liverpool's really good this year. And I think I'm going to take that back if the one Liverpool fan that we have in the room right now does that little thing he did over there in the corner, out of the corner of my eye. I saw that.
I don't like that at all.
How he's doing like a mixed Ronaldinho Brazilian thing.
I'm not here
and
for
I don't know if I'm okay with that.
No,
but Liverpool have been really good. Man United have been really good.
City,
City won the league. But by the way, back on the Chelsea subject, why would you care? Either you're going to finish 4th probably or 2nd, right?
Yeah.
And Chelsea are solid enough to finish in the top 4 this year still. So if you sack a guy when ultimately he wasn't going to win the league anyway.
You're right.
And then I think you guys are going to beat Barcelona.
I do too.
I'm just kidding. That's not going to happen, dude. That's not going to happen, dude. It's not going to happen. That's the best team in Europe right now, dude. That's the best team in Europe right now.
What does that mean? Messi's not scored against Chelsea.
I know, but that's like the one stat you guys drop every time. He's never scored against Chelsea.
Okay, but fine.
He couldn't score against Czech until he did.
What happened last time Chelsea took on Barcelona? We went and won the Champions League.
Yeah. But the next year you guys won the Europa League, right?
Wait, quick question.
Yeah, sick.
Eden Hazard.
See,
Is he going to Real Madrid next year?
Sadly, yes.
Is Courtois going with him?
I like when he becomes endearing. He stares
Yes.
straight into the lens of the camera
knows what
and
he's
like
doing,
tells
bro. He
the
knows what
camera
he's doing.
exactly
He
how
knows
he feels.
exactly what
and
he's
like
doing. He
addresses it as if it's like.
Well, I'm addressing it at just people watching, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they're both going to go. Courtois seems unhappy here. Hazard likes it here, and his family
Here?
and his. Sorry, here.
In the
I think
studio?
I'm in London. I'm from London, so
The UK boys point and Vouge with Hazard today
They were. Shout
at
out
that
to the
Nike
boys.
launch.
yes, they were.
By the way, did you see the off-white Holland kit?
Wait, there's a kit?
Sorry, this is a side note, but
I
off-white.
saw the shoes.
No,
I
they
did
made a
not-
kit.
Oh,
But it's a Holland kit, which is ironic.
I'm not Googling it right now, I promise.
Off-White the brand or
Yeah,
Off-White
Off-White
the
the
colour?
brand. Off-White the brand.
Well, that's a terrible brand.
You don't like it?
Oh my god, it's horrible and it's so overpriced. I went in that shop the other day. Guess how much a t-shirt was?
How much?
$390.
Did you get one?
No way, I would never. I just walked
Broke
in
boy!
Why'd you go in there then?
because my friend lives next door and he wasn't home. So I was like, you know what, I've got to just check out this shop because I've
I'm-
always hated on it.
I like some of their shoes are tight. I'll give you that. But they designed this Holland kit, which I don't know if they did on purpose because it's like not biased and it's just a team that's not. I mean, they could have done a U.S. kit, I guess. That would have been cool too. You know, considering American brand, team's also not in the World Cup. But who's the key player for this weekend? In the North London Derby.
First, I have a question. Is Koscielny injured? Is he healthy?
I don't know. I'd have to ask
There'd be no
Arsene.
way of knowing.
yeah.
No way of knowing.
While we're waiting on that one, will Aubameyang start? Will Lacazette start?
Aubameyang's gonna start.
Yeah.
With Lacazette?
I would like to see that happen, but I don't think you change a
Laka will be
system
off the
that's was very, very good last weekend.
I think Laka's going to be off the bench. My key player is going to be
Adebayor.
Probably.
Right?
Missed that guy, right?
Yeah.
Probably Koscielny, because
If he plays.
Spurs, yeah, if he plays, or Mustafi, one of those two, because I don't like Mustafi, but Harry Kane for me is Spurs' most dangerous player, obviously. Weird that I'd say that, but I
Not
think
weird. He's a great player.
the center backs are going to be so important against Spurs, and we've had some issues at center back with Arsenal.
Who do you think is the key guy? Not a key guy per team. Key guy in.
Son.
Okay. Why?
That's a very good shout.
He's unbelievable. He's
We've got
quick.
Calum over on your right side saying Jack Wilshere.
I wonder if he's going to say
Not Jack
Wilshere.
Wilshere. Jack Wilshere's just a rat. I don't want to. Let's not get into that.
Man, it's amazing how
a-
charismatically excited you are about certain players like Harry Kane. And then you're like, Jack Wilshere's a rat. It's like you don't really have something in the middle. Either like you're willing to write a poem for a player or you want to kill the player. And there's no in between of just like, all right, I'm indifferent.
I respect
Yeah,
it.
I mean,
I like it.
very
He's
strong
not about
opinion.
that
I'm all
lukewarm.
for it. Don't let
Not
me
about
get in
the
your way.
lukewarm stuff.
What other players are rats?
Oh,
Yeah, let's go through your rat list.
Rooney, a little bit.
Okay.
See that?
See that?
There he is. Why's that?
Oi, oi, oi.
You've put me on the spot here.
Who's your all-time worst
I mean,
rat?
Wilshere's really high up there. Who else? Come on, Dash. I'm always talking about this kind of thing.
Come on, Dash.
But use the word rat in a sentence for any player because I
Okay.
prefer when you.
Koscielny's a bit of a rat. Basically, most of the Arsenal team are rats.
Who, for example, on that Arsenal team would you
The
consider?
way you say rat is like it just you.
Anybody else in that
roll
squad?
it around in your mouth a little bit. You said rat.
Oh, Danny Alves.
Use it in a sentence.
Danny Alves is a rat.
God, dude. There is so much viciousness when you say the word rat that it's just like.
it marinates in his mouth before it comes out. He's like, he like swishes with the
Samir
R
Nasri,
before
I
he
hate
says
him.
it.
What is he?
It's just he's a
Who's
rat.
Samir Nasri?
Oh God, dude.
Rat.
Yeah, man.
The drip dots guy?
Jeez, I like that, dude. I like that you have an opinion on
Oh,
things.
I know who's a rat.
Who?
Fernandinho. He's
Okay.
great, but he's got that like. I really don't like Fernandinho.
Because.
He's a rat.
I can listen to. That should just be a segment now. All right, so let's move on to the picks, the weekend picks. All right, I want to get an idea from you guys, and we'll go back to the social lounge. What is?
It's a
Oh my gosh!
This is a mouse, not
No,
a rat.
what is it?
Yeah.
What
It's
is
a
it?
rat. Mouse. Mouse rat.
Do you know
What player do you
about,
think of first when you look at that?
Yeah, when you look at that.
Wilshere. Wilshere.
Wilshere?
Yeah, Jack Wilshere.
Mascherano? He said Mascherano. We got to give
great.
a shout out to Ryan for that one. Mascherano's pretty solid.
Aguero, he's a rat as well. There's plenty of rats.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
They were the kings of the rat tail, the Argentines. They have that.
Oh, man.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on. Let's move on to your picks just real quickly. Spurs versus Arsenal. Who do you have winning?
Unfortunately, Spurs.
Okay. Dash you. Spurs versus Arsenal. Who do you have winning?
Spurs.
City Leicester.
2-1 City.
He's got a score and everything.
Yeah.
City.
Okay.
Kicked it.
Real Madrid against Sociedad.
Oh, God. Real Madrid aren't great this season. 2-0 Real Madrid.
Okay.
I'm going to go with a draw.
Okay. Bayern versus Schalke.
4-1 Bayern Munich.
I'm going with Schalke. I like
I'm
Schalke right
also
now.
going
Yeah.
with Schalke.
They're so far out in front. There's no way they play their first team in this game. They've got a lot of important matches coming up that are not the league. They're like 19 points out in front.
Yeah.
You still don't think Schalke? They're in top 4. I don't think you've been paying attention to the
I've not
Bundesliga,
been
that's
paying
why.
attention
Yeah,
to
you're
it.
just throwing it out there, dude. Just the easy win. I get it,
I'm not-
dude.
yeah, but I
when
know that
somebody says
Bayern-
Bayern versus, like if somebody went to me and was like, Galatasaray against somebody, I'd be like, Galatasaray.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
But hang on, it's at the Allianz Arena. Bayern, last time I checked, were like 12 points clear. I've got a...
No, they're like
They're
19
18
points.
There you
points
go,
clear.
19 points clear. So
But they-
why wouldn't they win? Maybe they would.
Because they're not going to play their starters because they've got
That's
He
exactly
wasn't
Champions
listening
League.
to you
That's
at all.
exactly
That's how you
right.
can
I
tell.
swear
That's
he's
how you
thinking
can
when
tell.
I'm talking.
I'm multitasking over here.
Oh yeah,
Like-
dude, it must be tough.
Well, hang on, it is. I mean, I've got like all these things coming in, like comments. I've got like people's
Comments?
messages.
Comments.
Giroud is a rat now that he's a Chelsea boy.
Did you think he was a rat before?
No, I never thought he was a rat. I just
Oh,
thought,
how convenient.
hang on a minute, let me talk. I never thought he was a rat. I just thought he was like just a bit like
a little mousy
just a bit
mouse.
like of a good-looking
What's that?
like I'm like the good-looking tall guy that comes on and scores, and like I've never liked him, and I don't really like him. I'm kind of like I think he'll get some goals for Chelsea.
You know, last
He
week
was never a rat.
Last week we talked about handsome players, and you didn't mention Morata. Would you put him in
There were
front
some
of?
people
Would
that
you
were-
put him
there
in
were
front
some
of
people that
Giroud?
were upset with you in the
In front of Giroud?
Not in front of Giroud. Morata, when he shaves his head, is gorgeous. He is.
Oh gosh,
Marcus
dude.
He's got a
Alonso,
preferred look
Morata,
for my guy,
and
too. I love
Giroud. 3 most handsome Chelsea players.
Nice.
Alonso
nice.
at the top.
All right, Southampton, Liverpool.
1-1.
I'm gonna actually.
He's making like some sort of like sounds into the.
I think he just purred at you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with a Saints win
Okay.
away for them. And I feel like Liverpool always tends to slip up against some of the quote unquote smaller teams.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with the Saints win.
I don't know. Liverpool are very good
They
right
are-
now.
they are
Very
good.
good.
You need-
Love him. He's a rat. All right, let's move on to my the subject I've been waiting for this entire time. I've been warming up, giving Dash a hard time because now I gotta get the juices flowing. Because yesterday, for those of you who weren't in our office, we don't have a live 360 cam like Big Brother or anything like that. Dash made a bold claim that Chelsea's U21s would beat every single MLS squad, which he's then gone to sort of backtrack on and then claim that it was like one Chelsea team at one point that was the U21 that have a lot of these starters, and then kind of has backtracked even further to then. So we brought up the point where Giovinco said that Toronto FC would they would avoid relegation and could very well finish mid-table in Serie A. So it's prompted a discussion, and this is a lose-lose for everybody anytime you're comparing this stuff. But it's mostly because Dash said it that we have to bring it up. So guys, get into the comments and make sure you're letting us know who you think could MLS match up against Chelsea's U21s, which are basically amateurs, 18, 17, 18-year-old kids, because everybody knows that if you are a quality player, you are not hanging out in the U21 leagues anymore. You're either playing in the Championship or playing in the Premier League, getting regular games. Keep that in mind, so let us know.
Just like John Joe Shelby.
That brings me to my next point. Dash also went on to say that John Joe Shelby would be the best player in Major League Soccer if he came here. Okay? Outside of Giovinco and David Villa, who he said don't count, which now he's
That's a
making
whole
his own.
other bag
All right,
issues. But,
so do you guys think that an MLS team could fare well in, say, the Championship or the Premier League or any other leagues around Europe? And how do you think that they could fare? Dash clearly thinks that MLS is trash. The level is trash, and says that they would not survive also in the Championship. So I'd love to know what you guys think. Dash, take it away.
Okay, so first of all, as you've been speaking, we've had 4 people back to back say Chelsea 2, MLS 1, basically saying that Chelsea's under-21 team would beat any MLS
before
team.
we went on this, we told you everyone is going to probably agree with you.
Yeah.
Well,
We have some hot takey people.
We have some hot takey people. That is the fun thing to say, is to go after MLS. But I would disagree. You also said that MLS teams would not do well in the Scottish Premier League.
I did.
Yeah.
I basically went on a rampage against MLS yesterday, and I still stand by it. We'll move on from the under-21 comment. That was a little bit harsh, and you've made some good points. As an under-21 player, the good ones are already playing first-team football somewhere else. I take that one back.
Okay, we're going to play a little game then. I'm going to mention a league, and you tell me where the best team in MLS finishes, right?
Okay.
Okay, so you take Toronto FC this year that has multiple internationals, guys from La Masia, you have guys who've played in multiple World Cups, you have Giovinco, you know what I mean? You got a real squad of players, okay? You tell me where they're going to finish in this league, okay? And you don't have a lot of time to think, because I know you know this, because you have all the answers when it comes to MLS. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
The Premier League.
20th, bottom of the league, rock bottom.
Okay, Championship.
9th, and would struggle, would get injured every week. Most players, Giovinco would just get he'd never get the ball. He'd be out-muscled every second. He's tiny, and the level of quality of football in the Championship is not very good, like we spoke about. And maybe, MLS players pass the ball faster, run faster, make quicker runs. But I think the strength, they would just get bullied.
Scottish Premier League.
6th.
What teams would finish in the top 5?
Of the Scottish Premier League?
Oh, I would love to know.
Oh, my God. Okay. Celtic, Rangers, Aberdeen. I'm just rattling off all the teams.
You can't even get to 5.
Inverness.
Okay.
Partick Thistle.
You think
Hearts.
Inverness is going to finish?
Hibs. No, Inverness are actually in the league below, I think.
Ayr,
AYR.
Yeah.
Kilmarnock. Yeah. Partick Thistle.
Greenock Morton.
Okay. Yeah, anyway.
Okay. All right. Dutch
Queens
League.
of the South. You know that team, Queens of the South?
Yeah. Dutch League.
3rd. FC 20 and PSV.
So you're saying that an MLS team will finish higher in the Dutch League, but lower in the Scottish Premier League?
No, I'm playing around here. Let's actually talk let's talk
I thought that's what we were doing.
No, because I was the Scottish Premier League, the under-21 debate. Scottish Premier League, I think they'd probably come 3rd behind Celtic and Rangers, or whoever are 2nd behind Celtic. Honestly, though, I think that every MLS team is of championship standard in England, and would genuinely struggle to play in the championship, maybe even League One.
You just said that they're championship standard, and now you're saying League One.
Well, I'm saying, they might struggle in the championship, get relegated.
But that's because of the style of play, right? Or you're saying quality?
The competition and the style of play. Just the way it goes. That's how football goes. We can't break down football with just straight down to stats.
How do you think the Liga MX would do?
I know nothing about that league, other than this one nice pasta place I like to eat at.
Not even Mexican. Pasta.
I know
Pasta,
there's a nice pasta place, and they always play the Liga MX in there, and that's all I see of it. They've just got loads of different advertising on their
Sweden's
kits.
Allsvenskan. Where would MLS teams in there?
Top 2. Maybe win the league. Maybe Toronto, they're the best in MLS. They'd probably win the league.
Danish Super League.
Oh my God. 3rd. No, I'm joking. No, they'd win the league as well, probably.
Which is better, Sweden or Denmark?
Sweden.
Why?
Bigger country, more room for talent. In my opinion, I've met a few Swedes. I've never met any Danes. That
was a great answer.
It's true. I've played with some really good Swedish players actually here in New York, and I've never met any Danish players. So I'm sure there were great Danish players too. Yeah. Bentner.
But you're ruling out FC Copenhagen? You're putting a Swedish team, Malmö, better than FC
that's
Copenhagen?
true. That's a good point. FC.
Brøndby?
Yes.
What are the people saying?
Midtjylland?
Oh, yes.
What are the people talking about? Are they still agreeing with you?
Someone goes, get this guy off the show. That must be me.
They also said give Dash his own show.
They also said that.
He brought his own mic. He can have his own show. It's basically his own show now.
You got your own show, man.
Someone goes, call this Dash 90. Pretty good. Pat doesn't get Pat 90 ever.
Yeah,
anyway,
that's true.
It's true. You do have that over Pat. It's factual.
Well, wait, where were we going with the MLS rant? Because John Joe Shelby. Yes. So John Joe Shelby's a great player, whether you look at the stats or not. I rate John Joe Shelby and Johan Cabaye really highly, mainly because I think I play a lot like them.
Can I give an update on what yesterday's conversation was?
Yeah.
Dash said that John Joe Shelby would come to MLS and be the best playmaker in the league. So naturally, playmakers have to put up stats, right? We're not a hockey league. We're not talking about hockey here. There's no hockey assist necessarily that gets any credit. Well, you do get credit in MLS, but that's not the point. The point is that Dash said that John Joe Shelby would be the best playmaker in the league. So we Googled his stats, and I believe he has 1 goal and 0 assists so far this year for a team called Newcastle.
Let's confirm also that 1 goal came in FA Cup. Not in the league. Came in FA Cup. No assists, no goals.
But, having said that, if he came to MLS, he would be the best playmaker in the league. Guys, do you agree with that? Please don't. We're going to have to start blocking people.
I agree with that.
You said it.
I said it. if John Joe Shelby came to the MLS.
He just agreed with his own statement.
Well, I agree with
I just gave you your statement.
Here's the thing that I said. Also, I agree with it.
Yeah, I agree with it.
Let me go ahead and back myself up. Let me go ahead and back myself up on this thing that I said earlier.
He's quality. He's actually unbelievable player. He's got great vision. He's just like a baby Cesc Fabregas. I said that yesterday. I'll say it again.
You said it again.
If we can get Dash on this show next time, we are going to create a list of Dash's favorite 10,000 players and Dash's rats. It's going to be 2 lists. That's all he has. Either you're a rat or you're a very quality player and you're a top-class player. That would be the best player in Major League Soccer. If you
Dash just called him, you said baby Fabregas.
Yeah, he's just got similar qualities of Cesc
Literally
Fabregas.
the only similarity between John Joe Shelby and
It's
Cesc
the
Fabregas.
position.
There's a couple things.
Yes.
They're both humans, allegedly. We're not sure about John Joe.
Is Fabregas a rat?
They both play soccer. Both of them. Those are the only 2 similarities. Also, but there's a third one. They both play midfield.
And in the Premier League.
Humans, soccer players, midfielders. Those are the Venn diagrams. Those are the only comparisons you can make.
Okay,
They
fine.
have also-
Fabregas has won the World Cup and has done a lot more than John Joe Shelby.
Why is that?
Well, he's a
Because
better player.
he's way better at
Yeah,
soccer.
he is.
Yes.
But I absolutely
Do
stand
you
by
not
my...
think it's an insult to Cesc Fabregas to compare him to John Joe Shelby?
No, because I wasn't being rude about Fabregas once.
No, I get it.
I was saying that he's a baby Cesc Fabregas. So that's actually, if anything, not really a compliment, but like, Cesc... I just think John Joe Shelby would play so well at a better team. Liverpool wasn't good enough.
Shot.
No, wasn't good enough for him.
Wasn't not good enough. It just wasn't right. It wasn't the right time. I love John Joe Shelby. That's the bottom line.
We've gathered that, yeah.
He's great.
Yeah, I don't think so, though.
I love your passion towards this.
I
Guys,
do.
guess what? The Premier League just got a lot better. Guess who's back in the Premier League?
Oh, boy. I love this game. I love this game.
Evra is
I
back.
love this game.
Without being rude to the West Ham fans out there, I think he's suits.
Say Comrade.
No.
Please do.
Well, after that bloody kick he did the other day, I mean, yeah, he's more than that.
What's more than a rat?
Well, it's a swear word, but I can't say it.
What's it start with?
I just wonder how he'll play back in the Premier League. If he'll get a good reception going to Old Trafford, and will he start? I'm sure he'll start, but
With West Ham now have like Pablo Zabaleta and
Man City,
Patrice
Man
Evra.
United.
Their outside backs are so old and slow now.
Yeah.
It's amazing. They would have been like super nice in like 2014. That would have been the perfect outside back pairing.
I watched Patrice Evra train every day in Dubai for like the last 2 months, and he was making some really funny videos. But he was working hard. And he's got the eyes, and he's got the technique. But does he have the legs? You think he's got the legs left to go?
He's a bit old. I mean, he used to be so good though back
He
in the
didn't
day.
have the legs in Serie A, and Serie A is a much slower league.
Yeah.
In the Premier League, I think he's going to get dusted.
Someone just wrote Evra would be the best fullback to ever come to the MLS. I'm going to agree with them.
Better than Ashley Cole?
Ashley Cole, your boy Ashley? Oh, wow.
I forgot.
Wow.
I forgot.
Wow.
Ashley Cole.
Heath
by far the
Pierce?
best. No, you too, actually.
Oh, man,
But no. Not the best ever to come, but right now, he would be the best in the league.
Better than Ashley Cole?
Well, oh, yeah, Ashley Cole's No, for a minute I thought Ash had left
Oh my gosh,
or
it's like
retired.
Groundhog's Day in here.
We met Ash the other day.
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
amazing.
And he told us he was staying.
No, but yeah, I just forgot that he was still playing.
Everything is the other day for you, by the way. Like, Patrice ever kicked that guy like 4 months ago, and Ashley Cole came here like 6 months ago.
Des, I want to ask you a question. When was the last time you watched a full 90 minutes of MLS soccer?
San Jose Earthquakes versus Montreal Impact. Pretty good that I know the names.
Yeah.
I was there live. I was behind the goal in this like
The year.
ultras, and the year was last year. It was 2017.
In Montreal.
Whichever season, I don't know which one.
Or
I was
San
going
Jose.
to. It was in San Jose, and I was amongst these weird like guys singing these kind of funny songs that just made me laugh and look around and think, I'm not scared of one of you. Yeah, you're all wearing balaclavas. Sorry. I'm like,
wow. That's live, so
so
you need an address, email address, phone number.
That's DASH.
and we'll start there.
That's the side where the big long bar is, right?
Yes.
Not the other side.
It was like
It's like the small side. It's only like 4 or 5 rows.
No, the other side.
The other side.
Of San Jose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only one side is up. The other side is the bar.
Yeah, it's the bigger side.
Okay.
And they were all there, and they have like banners and flags and flares, and there's a guy at the front with the megaphone, like those Romanian nut jobs that come in Europe, and those guys that stand at the front and lead the chant, and that's pretty cool. But it just felt really weird looking around, seeing everyone wear balaclavas, thinking they were like gonna literally slaughter anyone that wasn't their fan, and ultimately they're just gonna go home and kind of hang out with their kids and wife or husband or partner.
Are the people
or
that
friends.
do that in parts of Europe not going home to their wife and kids?
Well, they are, but they're also probably going out to fight and get in trouble and do crazy other things. But they're also doing that, some of them. It's just like, I'm scared of someone from, like, when I've been at Stamford Bridge and we played against, like, FC Basel, like, you know, that's Switzerland, but they were pretty scary. I just remember a guy on the front, he stands top tier, literally about to fall over, and he leads the chant, and they all go nuts. And then afterwards, you see them outside, and they're like out to fight. And like I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna look at you and not gonna tell you that I'm a Chelsea fan. Now I look like an idiot because we're the home team, and maybe I should, but I'm not gonna stand up to him, obviously. I'm basically saying that I'm scared of those true ultras, and I'm not scared of these new MLS ultras.
You're not.
Am I being? Is this?
There's a few cities I'd like to take you to. There's a few cities. You don't even have to leave New York City. That I'd love to drop you into that, and hear you provoke those type of thoughts, and try to feel safe in that environment. I mean, I get it on the historical standpoint. I understand what you're saying. I know it's probably coming out different than you want it to. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt there.
Yeah.
But there's scary people everywhere.
I'm sure, absolutely. Oh, definitely in America for sure as well. I mean, all over the world, there's scary people everywhere. But it's just the way that they bring themselves to the football match and try and like replicate that Eastern European or South American.
Right. You're saying it's more of a costume than
It's
is
a costume,
an actual
yeah.
like hide
Exactly.
your face because you're not supposed to be in the stadium or because you're going to have like create violence.
Yeah, the people, the genuine ultras of Europe or South America, or now I guess I'm here in like China and stuff. That's pretty cool. In Japan, those true ultras are hiding their face because they're going to get up to no good and they don't want to be seen by CCTV or the policeman. Whereas the guys hiding their face in San Jose, like, are they going to do anything? Are they hiding it because they're going to like knife someone on the way out and then they haven't been seen? I don't know.
Find out next on this episode of Dash 90. Find out on the next episode of Dash 90.
I'm intrigued by that.
I'm
intrigued.
We should just send Dash around the ultras groups and see if he gets.
Someone said send Dash to Detroit.
Was it
Yeah.
Pat?
No, some guy called Tyler Johnson.
Yeah, I would love to send you to Detroit.
Another guy said Swansea's youth team would be better than any MLS side.
Oh God.
Swansea's first
I agree
team
with
might
you.
not be better than MLS.
Like, before you start dropping in youth teams of Swansea, focus on the first team, okay? It's not Bob Bradley's that you guys are terrible. What are you, just outside of the relegation again? Or are you back inside the relegation? Either way, focus on that, okay? No one cares.
Dash, what's your favorite Patrice Evra memory?
Oh, yes. Was it Evra against David Luiz? Fouled him near the corner flag. Luiz went down, held his face, and then looked up and winked because I think Evra got sent off. Was that Evra?
I know the video you're talking about, or the game you're talking about.
And he smiled, and he
Was
was
it
at
against
Old
Elbow?
Trafford.
Kicked the
No, it
ball
was
over,
Chelsea.
Was it against Elbow?
Yeah, I think so. And he kind of, it hit him in the tummy, or he pretended he got kicked. Luiz did.
Yeah.
And Luiz rolled over, looked out like his eyes like that, and red card to, I think,
Sergio
Evra.
Busquets did that too. I'm not sure who was
Oh my
against,
God,
but
he's
that
a rat.
picture.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
We got another rat.
Yeah.
Anybody? Any other comments? What else?
Oh, it was Raphael. That's
What are the people saying?
Yeah, Raphael. God, now I'm getting torn apart because it wasn't Evra. I'm here on live camera, guys. It's
How am I
pretty
supposed to
hard.
know?
Yeah, it's true. Anyone got any other questions?
Let's.
They want to know about your takes on the Nigeria kids.
Oh yeah.
Flames.
Pretty cool.
Every single flame emoji you can type. Flames, pure flames. So like the warm-up jacket. I think there are 2 warm-up jackets. The pre-match shirt, the jersey itself. Just I need every single piece of it, all of
They had
it,
those players modeling the kits too, and they look sick. They look like a crew.
like a squad.
Yeah, it looks like that's a cool kit. I'm definitely gonna get one of those.
If anybody wants, if anybody wants to send me one,
Do you have my
address?
I don't got the funds for
Please,
it, but I do
please.
have the passion for it.
Please send me.
So I would love it. No, I think that was a cool one. A lot of people were curious about the England kits, red or white, which one you preferred, because it wasn't that exciting.
Yeah, I think they're both really ugly.
Really? I thought the white's a
The white
nice
was
white.
kind of tight. With
The white
like
has like some weird stripes on it, like really thin lines. And I'm like, why are you gonna do that to a football shirt? Make it look like a dirty kitchen counter.
Oh my god.
Like it looks like a cheap plastic kitchen top.
What other questions or comments do we have?
Any other?
We have
If Conte gets sacked, how about Ancelotti back with Terry as his assistant?
Would you like that, Dash?
Yes. No. Ancelotti. Yeah, he won the double for us. I'm sorry, I was just caught up in the comments.
another one is Dash. Who do you want to replace Courtois?
That's a good question.
Is it? Am I saying it right? Adamaruma.
Donnarumma.
Donnarumma. That's the one. Donnarumma, young goalkeeper, looks great, tall. He's strong. AC Milan. I like him.
He's only going to cost 50 this summer.
Well, we'll have a lot more than that
Yeah,
if
but
we
your
get rid of
manager won't be able
Hazard.
to speak with him if it's not Italian.
Who else? Jan Oblak. You were talking about him the other day. Hang on.
That should be a fine when your phone goes off in the middle of a live show.
Yellow card.
It's on Do Not Disturb. How's that work?
Oh yeah.
You see the moon? You see the moon, my guy? How'd that work?
So what happened?
No.
I'd want Jordan Pickford for Chelsea, but he's never leaving Everton. But he's.
You don't think he's ever leaving Everton?
Everyone's got a price, my man.
Come on, bruv.
So I have to choose one.
No, we're just giving you.
Oh, you're just.
This is just an open conversation.
Bring Czech back. How about that?
You can have him. We won't even sell him to
Listen,
you.
Czech
you can
hates
have him
Arsenal.
for
Yeah, he does.
Czech is blue through and through.
we
Czech
don't feel
doesn't like
so great
Arsenal,
about
just
him
like
right
me.
now.
He was probably one of the most exciting players that I was most excited about
thought it was
for a
gonna be
long
10
time.
points
He
a
was
year.
so good at
I
Chelsea.
thought it was going to be 10 points this season, and now we have a broken man, a broken, sad man.
Should we go back to the Nigeria kit? It's pretty cool.
Yeah. What else?
I really liked it. I didn't get to say anything about it, so I just want to say
Oh man.
fair play to Nigeria because you've come out with the best kit in the entire World Cup. So
You've seen 4 kits for the World Cup so far.
of the 4 I've seen, I've actually only seen 2. But
Okay.
It is super
that is
tight.
great. It is. It's a
super,
really
super
nice
tight.
looking kit.
It's gorgeous.
Questions about the penalties from the Liverpool-Tottenham game?
Yeah.
Take on those?
What do you guys think? So the first one, let's just think. The first one was the
Harry
Harry
Kane.
Kane dive.
Yeah.
Players now love to touch it past a player and leave their foot hanging and get touched. I think it's a dive, but Harry Kane's round him. Well, Harry Kane should stay on his feet. Like, he's through, it's Harry Kane, he would score. But at the same time, I'm kind of with Harry Kane. I have a soft spot for Tottenham for some reason as well.
What's going on there?
Well, it's just anything against Arsenal for me.
Yeah.
But no, I think I think it's a penalty.
I think that on one hand, I think it's a dive. But goalkeepers know that that's almost always a penalty now. If you come out that aggressively and he takes a touch, you know he's going to drag his feet. The ref, it's so hard. That is so hard for the ref to see because he's dragging his feet. It looks like contact.
So fast.
And you come out that hard and that strong when you didn't really have to come out that hard in that position.
Karius is a nut job.
The keeper is, as much as I think it's a dive, the keeper is also just as much at fault for creating that situation.
Definitely.
We also have to talk about that Dejan Lovren missed tackle right before Harry Kane was through. Like, my guy. We need a little better.
Well, let's talk about what's his name from Tottenham, the center back when Salah just decided to.
Dyer passed.
Not Dyer. I'm talking about the defender.
Sanchez, I think it was.
No, it wasn't Sanchez.
Was it not Vertonghen?
So yeah, it was Vertonghen. Yeah, right? Who just tried to read the pass and then Salah just ran past him. Yeah, just dribbled. Yeah, I'll take this.
That's very David Luiz like.
Not to discredit Salah, that was a sick play, and the fact that he got that little clip in at the end.
A little dink.
Nasty, but
he's on 20 goals this season now. Who? Wasn't there absurd odds on
100 to 1?
100 to 1. Good lord.
100 to 1 for him to break 20 goals. That's a good bet.
100 to 1.
For Salah to break 20 goals in a season.
Oh yeah, that was before the season started. Yeah, great bet. Whoever made that bet, well done. Because 100 to 1 makes a lot of money, pretty much.
We got any more comments?
Yes.
Can Pochettino be considered a success with no trophies at Tottenham and Arsene Wenger having won 3 in that same time?
Hang on, can we just be clear that Arsene Wenger won a few FA Cups? Like,
What's the question again? Sorry.
Can you consider Pochettino a success with no trophies in his tenure at Tottenham, while Arsene Wenger having won 3 during that same period?
I mean, look, FA Cups, I get it. It's a secondary trophy. So why hasn't
third trophy with Champions League?
Yeah,
Premier League.
It's a secondary trophy in the league. It's still worth something. It's better than the League Cup. Having said that, if Arsenal win this League Cup, we're going to celebrate. But it's a different time period now. Money is buying trophies. Money is buying the league, right? Money is buying the Champions League because you're playing through the winter. All these games, it's impossible for these teams. I think maybe Man City can do well this year because they're so far out in the league. That's your only real chance is to be able to balance out the league with your roster now and whatever. So I think it's on one hand it's unacceptable because I think you should be able to win a secondary or what's the third? What's the
tertiary?
Tertiary trophy, and you haven't, right? And that's what I think is going to push Harry Kane eventually out the door. He wants to stay there forever, but not if you don't win trophies.
It's not going to be because he's like the 50th best paid player in Premier League.
They're going to break the bank for him, I think, to keep him.
The Tottenham bank, which is still...
I still think they're going to give him probably $250 or $300 a week.
I don't think he'll get above 200, to be honest. I don't think they have it or are willing to pay it. But yeah, I think on one hand, Pochettino has been successful because he's been able to foster an incredible style of play. He's brought a lot of young players through. Tottenham is a better team than Arsenal right now. They're challenging, at least for Champions League, every single season. But they haven't won any trophies. So to call him a success, I think he's been successful so far. But if he doesn't win a trophy in the next year or two, then I think you've got to look at it and say he's probably failed.
But hang on, the question was... Is he a success in comparison to Wenger supposedly being a success? Obviously, Wenger was a success.
The answer is no. No, it's not a success.
Because not in comparison, but I think Pochettino's job was a different one. He had to take Spurs from being
and he's done very well.
Not contenders at all to turning them into legitimate perennial. I guess you would call them perennial contenders.
I base this just on the 1 year that they could have done well and they fell short. And Leicester went on to win the title. Yeah. They were in a title race then.
True.
And that's what I think you judge it on. A club like Tottenham isn't a first place or a champion club. They're not. They're just not ever going to be because they can't spend the money to be a club that sits on top every single year. He's done great things with them. I think Arsenal's spending system, I think Arsene Wenger has done great with what he's been given. But if you match the two up in this period, I think Pochettino, with what he's been able to work with, has done better than Arsene Wenger.
Yeah, much better. Arsenal are a team that will have a parade if they win the League Cup. They'd have a parade if they win the FA Cup. And
Spurs don't have a parade.
Yeah, Spurs don't have a parade, but I'm just saying that it's not really success. I'm agreeing with you. In comparison, over those years, Pochettino has done a lot better.
It's also so hard to detach Arsene Wenger from Arsene Wenger pre-10 years ago, right? Like
more than 10 years, but yeah.
But I'm saying like 13 years, 14 years,
14,
right?
15 almost.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean 2003 was when they last.
That's an anniversary then. We're going to make an anniversary of the last big trophy.
15 years.
Yeah.
15, yeah. 15. 2003 was when they last won the league. We
Well,
won it
04,
04,
03, 04.
03, 04, fine.
Yeah. So
Chelsea won it 04, 05, 05, 06, 09, 10.
Anyways, guys, it doesn't really matter because neither of these teams count for anything because Manchester City has all the money and Manchester City will win all the trophies, or Chelsea because they buy trophies too. Anyways, guys, but that's all we have. Dash, do you have any final thoughts? Look straight into the camera and give this to your passionate fans who've stayed up all night long from all parts of the world to tune in to see you call people rats or your favorite players.
So whoever said Dash 90, I love that. I'm with you. Scrap Copper 90. No, Copper 90 is great, but Dash 90 is also great. The people that said Dash out, I'm sorry for offending you guys. I'm right here. My desk is over there, and that's that.
Put your balaclavas on and show up here at the office.
Don't do that.
My desk is right over there, like they're gonna.
If all of you would just look to your right, you'll see my desk sitting there, and you can meet me there anytime.
Come find me.
Aaron, any final thoughts?
Come find Dash, to be honest.
Oh, we want a Heath to Portland update.
Oh gosh, guys, I've got some reoccurring. So now we know we've got some reoccurring followers on here. People have watched more than one live show. That's good news. That's data. Collecting data. No updates on that debacle. I'm still having a lot of issues with Orlando City willing to negotiate my rights. I'm a player that's of high value, therefore they want a big fee. There's been talk of a bag of balls. There's been talk of takeovers on social platforms for a day, things like that. But I'm far more valuable than that. And Orlando City now is asking for at least cones, balls.
I heard there was an entire container
goal.
of Kinesio tape that was being haggled over.
Kinesio tape's expensive, to be fair. If it's a
bro.
container full of Kinesio tape, that's not getting from point A to point B because someone's going to jack
value
that
has
thing.
Skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Honestly, you're like Bitcoin. You're just up and down, but right now you are
dude.
up.
Buy the dip. Buy the dip. If I can give you one piece of financial advice, buy the dip.
The dip, yeah. 2 days ago, Ethereum, Bitcoin all dropped. Should have bought then, but it's on its way back.
All right, guys. So that's all we have. Dash, thank you so much. Aaron, thank you so much. Get down in the comments. Keep this conversation going. Let us know what else you'd like us to do on this show. And make sure you're tuning in to the U.S. soccer presidential elections happening on Saturday. It's a pivotal moment in our history, our young history as a soccer nation. We're all excited about it. We're going to be not only paying attention to that, but releasing stuff throughout the week as we lead up to that. So make sure you're tuning in to our Facebook and our YouTube and our Twitter accounts because we care. This is very important. Yeah. We want ultimately U.S. soccer to win in the development and everybody to be winners at the end of all this, even though we have our own personal thoughts. So guys, thank you for tuning in. Comment, like, and make sure you're subscribed to our channels because, we care about you guys. And we'll see you next time.
Up the Chelsea.
Nope.
Up the Chelsea.
Only them fakers hate God.
They ain't blue like that. They ain't blue like that. They ain't blue like that. They ain't blue